Hey there, my fellow YouTubians. It's very early in the morning. Last night I was up kind of late rewatching one of the Scorsese films we're reviewing for our little series here. So I need to dash this off kind of quickly and post it before I go to work today. A few of the films we're watching in this series I haven't seen in over 10 years or more. But today we're talking about Taxi Driver, and that's something that I've seen many times, especially back when I first came across it when I was in high school. It was one of those movies that had a lot of, violence and nastiness in it that appealed to me and a lot of my friends. Movies like A Clockwork Orange and Good, the Bad, and the Ugly and Reanimator, Evil Dead, stuff like that. Of course, Taxi Driver's a serious film, but that doesn't stop kids like us from enjoying all the gunfire and other stuff like that. There's a lot to be admired about this movie. It was a film that came out, I believe, in 1978, and cost about $1 million at the time, about $1 million budget, and was actually a hit movie. Did well for Scorsese, so it was probably his big commercial breakthrough. His previous film was Mean Streets, and that was, a breakthrough as far as in the business. Got him a lot of good attention, and so Taxi Driver became the first movie of his that got him sort of a mainstream audience. There's an anecdote about a guy who was in New York City and jumps in a cab, and the driver was actually Robert De Niro, who was doing research by driving a real cab around, and picking up customers for a few weeks or whatever as preparation for the part. And he says to him, "You're Robert De Niro, right?" And he goes, "Uh-huh." And he's like, "You just won Best Supporting Actor Oscar for appearing as the young Don Corleone in The Godfather Part 2, and now you're driving a cab. Hollywood must be really tough if you've got to resort to driving a cab after winning an Oscar, right?" The film, of course, is about Travis Bickle, who is one of the names that I think Edward Norton took for Fight Club. In Fight Club, Edward Norton doesn't ever mention his real name, but he uses a number of fake names, one of which is Travis, and the other of which is Rupert, which happens to be the first name of Robert De Niro's character in The King of Comedy. I'm not sure exactly where Cornelius comes from, but I couldn't help but notice that. Anyway, Travis is a very unhappy person. He's a Vietnam veteran. He was in the Marine Corps. And he's probably suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. He, as he admits to one character in the movie, has a lot of bad thoughts. He doesn't really know how to relate to people. He is sort of socially, a bit of a social misfit, actually. He has a few people who he hangs out with, other cabbies, but no one really close. He spends a lot of time alone, writing his journal, sort of ranting about stuff. He'd probably be a YouTube video ranter if he was a young guy living now. But yeah, he just he's just unhappy, and he's not really sure how to work out his aggression, and he ends up sort of befriending a couple of women, one of whom is Sybil Shepherd, who works for a politician who is running for office, and the other of whom is, of course, the Jodie Foster character. And Jodie Foster was only about 11, 12, 13 years old or so when she made this movie. She plays a child prostitute, and Harvey Keitel is her pimp. And so after he befriends her, he really starts to dislike, of course, Harvey Keitel quite a bit. And he begins to make plans of a sort for some sort of violent and aggressive sort of a cleanup kind of. He sees a lot of filth and scum in the streets of New York, pimps, prostitutes, drug dealers, what have you, and wants to eradicate as much of that as possible. I actually this is actually the second version of this video that I made. I made the other version a few days ago, and I watching it is kind of uncomfortable. Taxi Driver is an uncomfortable movie to watch just because of the way the main character relates to other people, and I sort of wanted to do the V-roast thing and sort of put myself into a character-oriented situation, so I tried to replicate the conditions of one of the scenes of the movie. Here is a brief clip from that.
But really, the whole movie is just about a guy who's just like extremely uncomfortable, okay? He doesn't belong anywhere. Like somebody else I know, huh? Yeah. Hmm? Like somebody else I know.
So yeah, I went a bit mental there. I sort of, it was a little bit therapeutic actually, because I wanted to like recreate the situation a little bit. Robert De Niro in the scene, of course, it's a famous scene in which he does the whole "you talking to me" routine. He's basically provoking or taunting an imaginary adversary as he's testing out all his gun rigs and everything, and just this quick draw technique. But what I was doing was basically just taunting myself because I don't really like Taxi Driver. You know, it's an easy movie to admire. Its technique, Scorsese's technique, of course, is really interesting, and I wouldn't say fun, but I would say fun. Just in terms of cuts and shots and transit. It's exciting. But yeah, it's an uncomfortable movie for me just because the main character is such an uncomfortable person, and socially he has some issues there, I guess. The whole sequence where he takes the Sybil Shepherd character to the porn theater, that's really bad. And then of course she doesn't react well to that, obviously, and he keeps trying to get back in her good graces after that, and she isn't having it, and it's hard to watch. And a lot of stuff involving his character becomes sort of hard to watch because he's just moving in the wrong direction in general, and that especially comes into play towards the end of the movie when he ends up trying to assassinate a couple of people. Scorsese on the DVD commentary describes the women characters as having these father figures. For Sybil Shepherd, it's the candidate, and for Jodie Foster, it's her pimp, and he ends up trying to kill both of them. So yeah, he's definitely not thinking things through real clearly, and this is all these factors sort of come into play when I sort of react to the movie and go, it's easy, like I said, it's easy to admire, but it's a tough movie to like. And so, though I enjoyed a lot of scenes from it and watched it many times again and again, it's hard for me to really say, yeah, I enjoy the movie. It's not a kind of movie that you'd really enjoy. In an aesthetic sense, sure, but on the whole, yeah, it's hard to like, so it's hard to recommend. Yeah. And it's maybe irresponsible of me to say I didn't like Taxi Driver as a fan of film, but come on, there's still plenty of movies out there that got all kinds of praise that I don't like, and of course lots of disreputable movies that I enjoy very much. It's a matter of taste or something. I don't know. My feelings on this film are rather confused. Overall, I can't say that it's a bad movie, but I really don't like it. That's as best as I can do, I guess. So I have to put this video together quick now and post it. And of course, V Rose has her review up today as well, and there's a link below to her channel, so you can check that out. Thanks for watching. I really ought to plan this stuff better, or at least do them when I have more time. Talk to you later. Bye.